I was thinking I might just make some traditional tarts. Natas. Pastel De Natas. You'll see that there's 4 missing. Can you guess where they are? To make some Portuguese custard tarts. It'll be my first attempt and I hope they turn out really good. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, I'm back in the kitchen. I've got all my ingredients ready for the Portuguese custard tarts. Now I'm not gonna make the shell, like the pastry, puff pastry part from scratch. I actually just gone ahead and bought some what they call folhada, which is just sheets of the puff pastry, and that's what I'm gonna use for the crust. All right, so here's the ingredients for our custard tart. We'll need some egg yolks, cinnamon, vanilla extract, icing sugar, water, flour, regular sugar, milk. I got a whisk, got a thermometer, and in this case, I'm not going to be making the flaky pastry shell by scratch. I'm actually just going to go ahead and use this folhada, and you can buy that at the grocery store. I got mine at Pindos, and it will be, obviously it's not going to be as delicious as the real McCoy homemade scratch puff pastry, but I am not that kind of a baker, so I'm quite happy to be using that. I'm just letting you know, it's also going to save a lot of time in this recipe. You'll need a couple of pots, and what I like to use is my muffin tin, 12 muffin tin pan, and a baking dish underneath it. Sometimes I'll fill it up with a little bit of water, so it's almost like a bath Maria. And the reason for that is just because the custard takes a little bit longer than the pastry does for baking. So we don't want to over bake the pastry before the custard's done. So that's an ideal thing to do. Now, some people do it differently. This is how I do it. Totally up to you. But if you're going to do this recipe, I would strongly suggest adding a little bit of water there. Okay, so I have the folhada, the puff pastry sheet. I bought 2 for 12 tarts, and all you gotta do, at least this is how I do it, I roll it out from the package, and then I cut each into quarters. It's just easier to do it this way. And then again, cut them again in the middle. And then what I do is I just take it, I'm gonna fold it like that. I've gone ahead and greased, and please be generous with the butter. That's how much butter we want to see in these tins, okay? So I just take that, place it in, and I press it along the sides. Now grab the smaller ones, because we will have extra. I'll use it to fill up ones that seem to be a little thin. Continue with the second package. This saves so much time because honestly, I have tried to make flaky sheet of I'm not even sure what they call that. Phyllo, not phyllo pastry, it's flaky pastry. And it's a lot of butter and a lot of kneading and rolling and flour, and it's a lot of time. So this way, you're saving yourself, believe me, probably an hour or more. This is so economical because these sheets only cost 90, I think it was 92 centos. So I've got 4 little pieces left, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split them. Ideally, we want 12 pieces. You just wanna make sure all 12 muffin tin get some extra flaky dough in there. Okay, so now what we wanna do is we're gonna press along the sides and the bottom. The whole time we're trying to bring up the sides of the pastry shell, the sides of the tin. Make sure we don't have too much of it exposed beyond the rim, because then it will get burnt. Now, this took me what? Not quite 5 minutes compared to an hour or more to do homemade pastry. Okay, so that's done. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 1/4 cup of the milk. We're gonna put that into a bowl. We're gonna grab our flour. We're going to whisk it until it's smooth. Once it's nicely incorporated and it's nice and smooth, we're going to set it aside. It's looking good. Okay, that's nice. Put that aside for now. We're gonna get our pan there, turn up the heat. Oops. We're gonna put in the rest of the milk. And we're gonna get this milk super hot just before it starts to get frothy, bubbly, and you know how it gets when you boil milk, it starts to grow until it overspills. Well, we're not gonna get to that point, but we want it super, super hot and frothy, I guess, just before it gets really out of hand. What we'll do after that is we're gonna add it into our flour mixture. While we're waiting for our milk to get nice and hot, we've got a little saucepan here. And with that, we're gonna add the water and the sugar. We've got the sugar and the water mixed together. We're gonna stir that. Now we're supposed to add a cinnamon stick in that sugar water mix, but I don't have any, so I'm just gonna throw in a little bit of the, probably a 1/4 teaspoon of the regular powdered cinnamon. Our milk is just starting to get frothy. I love cinnamon, so that's a lot of cinnamon, and that's perfectly good. Okay, you see how the milk is doing that? I'm gonna turn it off now. So that's ready to be placed into our flour. Whisk the milk ever so slowly into our flour mixture. Stirring the sugar. It's going to take a little while. The goal here is to get this sauce to 220 degrees. It's getting there. 211. I'm almost there. It's just starting to boil. That's good. Oh, that smells nice. It starts Smelling that cinnamon coming through. All right, so we're there. 220 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 Celsius. So as soon as it comes to boil, you've reached the temperature. The next step is to take our hot sugar, cinnamon, water syrup. It's very hot, so you have to be very, very, very careful when you're doing this. Slowly, we're going to add that into the milk. It's like a syrup. Now we're gonna add our vanilla extract. So that's half a teaspoon of the vanilla extract goes in there. It smells really nice. Smells so nice. Now we wanna keep whisking this. I've got this glass bowl and it still feels pretty hot. We don't want it this hot. Because our next step is to gently place in the 6 egg yolks, and we don't want it to turn into scrambled eggs. I'm gonna give it a few minutes here. It's not super hot. It tastes so nice. Okay, let's start with our eggs. Very important, you gotta keep stirring. Notice the color of my liquid is like a brown instead of a yellow, and the reason for that is because I threw in powdered cinnamon instead of the cinnamon stick for flavoring, and that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. It's all gonna taste delicious at the end. Just keep whisking these egg yolks into the mixture. Don't stop. It's a good workout. It's getting thicker and thicker. Spatula to get all that egg yolk out of there. You don't want to waste anything. All right. Let's just stir that. It's like a golden brown. Looks lovely. Just about ready to pour into our muffin tin. I'm going to use a ladle and fill up these beautiful pastry 3/4 the way. I think we might have more than enough to make another batch. Okay, so this is ready for the oven, and as I said, I'm going to add some water in this baking dish down here. It's going to be like a Maria bath. By placing the water in this pan, what I'm doing is I'm just going to almost like a slow cook the bottom of the muffin tin to prevent the puff pastry from overcooking. Look at those beautiful tarts baking away. So halfway into the baking process, I removed the water bath and I just placed it back in, and now it's the browning. So we got to keep an eye on it. We don't want to overcook it. Folks, can you count how many tarts are on the tray and plate? Well, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, what happened to 2 of them? Alan and I couldn't resist. We gobbled them up. Even though they were a little too hot, we couldn't resist and we just went ahead and ate them. So I've prepared a plate, put a little doily for decor. I've dusted some white powdered sugar and a little bit of cinnamon, and that's what they look like. I'm gonna take a bite into it now. Remember, I use powdered cinnamon in the mix rather than the cinnamon stick, so the color of my tart isn't as yellow as it should be, but it doesn't make a difference in my case because I'm eating these. Unless we have unexpected company today, they'll be gone. Either way, Alan and I can eat these, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite so you guys can see what the interior of the tart looks like. There's a bit of a crunch, but it's nothing like that real flaky tart you're gonna get at the bakery. But it's not bad at all. Yummy. I can't stop. It's so warm. That would be nice with a glass of milk, a tea, or even a coffee. If you put them in the fridge to chill, I think mine tastes best when they're cold because the texture is very different than the one you would find normally at the bakery. But go ahead and give it a try. I think you'll be impressed. Can't stop eating them. Yum. There we go. Give it a try, guys. Not bad, not bad. You don't have to fly all the way to Lisbon to have the delicious Portuguese tarts. You can make them right in your kitchen. Bon appetit! Well, if you count how many tarts are left on this platter, you'll see that there's 4 missing. Can you guess where they are? I gotta admit, I ate 3. Helen had 1. They're really, really tasty. And you know what? I think I'm gonna have another one. It's a little extreme. That's a lot to have in one sitting, but it's so good.